Welcome to Pencil's 50,000 Futures Gala. I'm your host for the evening, Adrienne Houghton. Thank you for tuning in to this incredibly special program. Super excited to be here. Pencil is an organization in New York City that has been connecting students to success for over 25 years. Pencil provides students with so many amazing things: mentors, life skills, internships, preparation for college, inspiration to explore new careers, and importantly, access to the futures they dream of. This was an incredibly difficult year for students, educators, and companies looking to give back. Pencil stepped up to the challenge, creating innovative ways to bring together students and business professionals in the midst of the pandemic. Growing up on the Lower East Side and going to public school myself, I can tell you what programs like Pencil mean to New York City kids. Yes, as New Yorkers, we have grit and can hustle and work hard to make the futures that we want, but Pencil makes the possibilities for those futures much bigger. This organization opens the world up for young people. Pencil not only tells students they can be whatever they want when they grow up, but it gives them the keys to success to achieve those dreams. Tonight, we are going to hear about Pencil's programs, impact, and people. Importantly, you're going to learn about how you can support and get involved in this necessary work. To kick us off, I am thrilled to introduce Pencil's president, Greg Bethisle, and Pencil's board chair, Christopher Hayward, to share more about why tonight is so important to help Pencil reach its goals.
Thank you, Adrienne. Not only for being with us tonight, but for all the support you've shown us over the years. From your first Principal for a Day years ago, to hosting a spinning fundraiser, to making us the charity of your choice when you and Israel were on Game Face with Kevin Hart, and even sharing encouraging comments during our Juneteenth IG Live. You've been a true champion to Pencil and our students. And tonight is about Pencil students, 50,000 of them. Since 1995, we have worked with over 40,000 students, and for the past 3 years have been working hard to connect an additional 50,000 students to success. New York City's public school students are an incredible group. Our job is to help them access the opportunities that match their ambitions, and we see the impact. Our work opens eyes to new industries and career paths, opens minds with new skills and confidence, and opens doors to new opportunities. And the stories we will hear are truly inspiring. Tonight, we want to make these stories possible for more students. Our goal tonight is to inspire you to get involved, or more involved if you've been with us over the years, and to raise $1 million to reach even more students. We couldn't achieve this level of impact without thousands of volunteers from companies representing nearly every industry in New York City.
That's right, Greg. We are lucky to have some of New York City's most successful companies working with Pencil students. Whether it's partners we have worked with for decades like JP Morgan Chase, Deloitte, and Bloomberg, or new partners like Unilever, Market Access, and RXR Realty. Collectively, our corporate partners have contributed millions of dollars and thousands of volunteer hours to ensure New York City students get what they need to succeed. But we can do even better. With over 1.1 million students in New York City public schools, there will always be a need to do even more. At Golden Tree, where I am partner and president, volunteering with Pencil is one of my team's favorite activities. Building a relationship with Principal Crystal Bonds and working with her students at the High School for Math, Science, and Engineering has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my professional life. Without Pencil, that would not have been possible. This year in particular, as both a partner and as Pencil's board chair, I have been amazed and so proud of the extraordinary work of the Pencil team to keep our programs running.
Chris, I know your work with Principal Bonds and her students means a lot to you. And you know as well as anyone that the core of Pencil's work is the power of relationships. This year, Pencil worked with over 5,000 students, and every one of them gained access to people, skills, and opportunities that weren't available to them before. Thousands of students had their eyes open to industries they never knew existed by tuning into Pencil's virtual career panels, workshops, and mentoring sessions. And this summer, over 350 students had doors open to new opportunities through internships, both remote and in person, collectively earning nearly $1 million. But companies and their volunteers have also benefited. Pencil made it easy for over 100 companies to offer meaningful volunteer programs for their employees, while also building a diverse talent pipeline through Pencil's summer employment programs. Over 1,500 volunteers gave back to the city in a meaningful way this year when we were all searching for bright spots and positivity.
But the benefit of Pencil's work doesn't stop with students and volunteers of today. Making sure New York City students have access to the careers of their dreams can benefit the city and the economy for decades to come. When we invest in Pencil students, their potential lifetime earnings increases materially. Let me pause on that. This work with students today helps increase their earnings for their entire life. They are more likely to pursue higher education, more likely to pursue cutting-edge careers that our programs expose them to, and more likely to get access to the fantastic companies who are part of the Pencil community. As New York City emerges from the pandemic, it is more important than ever for businesses to step up and ensure the future of the city by investing in our youth.
So when we hit our goal tonight of raising $1 million, that means Pencil can support over 2,600 more students. That means for a little less than $400, Pencil can connect a student to a mentor who can teach them how to break into an industry they love, help a student master valuable skills that support success, and offer direct access to hundreds of businesses Pencil works with. We are grateful for the many companies and foundations that have stepped up this year to support Pencil students. But every donation, regardless of size, makes a difference, and we hope each of you watching can make a contribution to ensure the success of our students as well as the success of our city.
Thank you, Chris and Greg. Wow, I seriously get chills just thinking about how many lives both students and volunteers have been and will be changed by this work. As Greg mentioned, every donation makes a difference. So, throughout the program, you're actually going to see a QR code on the screen that you can scan to donate. We also encourage you to visit pencil.org, where you can learn more about all the ways to get involved. As we have said, this past year has been like no other, and Pencil needed to take some extraordinary measures to continue delivering for as many students as possible. To learn more about this, I am super excited to introduce another native New Yorker and public school alum, Pencil's Chief Strategy Officer, Jessica Vino. Jessica, take me back to April last year. How was the Pencil family just grappling with everything unfolding?
Thanks, Adrian. The last 18 months have absolutely been full of challenges, but they've been marked by incredible innovation and resilience as well. I mean, the Pencil team went from running programs in person for thousands to getting all of those programs online in just a few short weeks. And at the same time, schools were trying to figure out how to educate remotely. They were trying to get laptops and internet access to all of their students. And students at home were dealing with impossible challenges. They were becoming caregivers to younger siblings or managing their family's health when somebody got sick. And some even found themselves to be the sole breadwinners in their families. I mean, they were all dealing with emotions like loss and hopelessness and fear, just like all of us. And, educators and principals, they went above and beyond, and they checked in with their students and families just to see how they were faring. And when Pencil talked to those educators and principals, one thing was clear. They needed Pencil programs in their schools. They couldn't imagine taking anything else away from their students when so much was being lost.
Wow, I can't even imagine what students were going through. It was just such a hard time for everyone, like you said, and it's so important that we all reflect openly and honestly about how difficult it has been. I know many of the students Pencil works with are in high school, and they were looking forward to things like graduations and proms, all while planning for college and thinking about what careers they want to pursue. What did Pencil's programs look like to make sure that students still got the support they needed?
Well, first of all, the schools just needed an incredible amount of flexibility. Before the pandemic, our school partnership programs ran on a regular schedule with monthly sessions, and we knew that that would be impossible with all the uncertainty. Pencil needed to create something that was really easy for students to access, but would still be incredibly meaningful. So we started running workshops and career panels virtually about 3 times a week, And those were available to students from over 100 New York City high schools. And our partner Unilever stepped up and sponsored the entire program. And so since April of 2020, we have run 107 sessions where 1,600 students have gotten to meet and learn from executives and leaders from over 80 companies. And then when the school year came around again and things got into a rhythm, we were able to launch our school partnership program. And this year we had over 1,000 students work virtually in small groups with over 800 volunteers.
That's amazing, Jessica. I know everyone has been experiencing Zoom fatigue, but these programs must have really helped students just to stay motivated and inspired in their schoolwork. I know Pencil usually has hundreds of students in internships every summer. How did you manage to get students jobs during a time when jobs were disappearing for so many people?
I'm not gonna lie, the summer was incredibly challenging. And really, internships and summer jobs were on fragile ground. In April, the city canceled the summer youth employment program. And in May, a lot of companies were canceling their own internship programs. Everybody was really wondering whether students could thrive in summer programming after such a challenging school year. But from that challenge came an opportunity to innovate. And from that came Pencil's biggest innovation of the pandemic, Career Explorers. Now, this is a program where students got a paid, virtual, simulated internship. They were matched with a mentor, and they got to work on a project in an industry that they wanted to pursue. And it was really thanks to the generosity of our partners like the Carnegie Corporation and Bloomberg Philanthropies, who contributed almost $250,000 that Pencil was literally able to create jobs out of thin air. And I'm really proud to say that now over 100 students have benefited from that program.
That's absolutely incredible. It is amazing to hear about how Pencil was able to change up its programs and just get so creative with ways to give kids the experiences, mentors, and career exposure they need. Well, I think it's time to hear about one of these students firsthand. As we just learned in 2020, for students like Austin Alessandri, who was looking for a meaningful internship before starting college, the situation last summer was not looking great. Fortunately for Austin, Pencil had the perfect opportunity, and it's still paying off.
So at the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was really in a state of uncertainty. They didn't really know what was happening. And I just thought to myself, I was like, all right, this summer is kind of lost. And then one afternoon out of the blue, I got a call from someone that worked at Pencil, and they're telling me about this new program that they're starting. It's called the Career Explorers program.
Career Explorers was a really innovative program that Pencil came up with in the wake of COVID-19 and the impact that it had on the city. Career Explorers gave the opportunity for our students who were not able to secure internships because of the lack of internships available during the summer of 2020, and still provided students with the hands-on experience that they needed to gain a skill set and build out their network and learn from our mentors.
I had found out about Pencil's mission, and I reached out about volunteering opportunities. Years later, after being on a volunteering list, with the pandemic happening, they reached out about the Career Explorers program.
Well, when I first met Brian through the Pencil's Career Explorer program, I didn't really know too much about him, but the more and more I worked with him, he actually went out of his way to do things for me that he wouldn't necessarily need to do.
I think that there's just so many people in life who have tons of motivation and excitement and just need someone there to advocate for them and tell them that they can do this. And that's what the Career Explorers program brings.
Well, I'd say at such a young age, majority of people don't really know exactly what they want to do, or they don't have the necessary skills to achieve what they want to do. And with Pencil, they really provide the opportunity not to grow just as a student, but to grow as a person overall. They would provide with the proper trainings, such as workshops based on resume building, financial literacy, professionalism. They connect you with the opportunities as well.
Pencil is the glue that holds everything together. One of the things that I really loved about the Career Explorers program was that we had dedicated time every week. We had a check-in, we had a reminder. We were actively encouraged to work with our mentee. We were provided guides on how to mentor as well.
I believe that mentors really provide guidance because not everyone has someone they can go to and ask all these questions. but really building up a relationship with someone, not even just on a career sense, but just a friend sense, someone you can look up to, someone you can ask the hard questions to, and you know that they'll always be there backing you and providing any support that you might need.
What Pencil does is it helps break the mold. It does not say that because you have to go to X school, you can get X job. And a lot of the world views it that way. What Pencil does is it streamlines including diverse voices and people from the local area that you're in to engage the community and to help enhance the workforce. And from a corporate perspective, diversity is a major focus. Diversity has been proven over and over again to lead to more successful outcomes, higher profit margins, and bringing those diverse perspectives and backgrounds into the workroom and hopefully all the way to the boardroom.
One lesson that I really hope that Pencil gives to our students and that our students take with them throughout life is the importance behind networking and building real connections. We are not just trying to build out a student's resume and ensure that they get into college or that they get their first job. Although that is so important, we're also hoping to give them the skills needed to build a network and build a community of individuals who will support them throughout life and who will continue to assist in building their skill sets.
Yeah, I definitely remember Pencil would mention having a network isn't just meeting someone one time and talking to them and that's it. You have to maintain your network, you have to continually talk to them, speak with them, stay in contact, just even if on a friendly basis, ask them how they're doing, keep up with them, keep in contact with them, because like any friendship or relationship, you need to maintain it. You can't just talk to them one time and that's it. It was February, March, and I'm like, I don't have an internship for the summer. Hopefully I don't have to do nothing this summer. So I said, I know I have a network. I'll reach out to Brian, see, worst case scenario, he says all the spots are taken or he doesn't have anything, but that text or anything doesn't hurt me. So I reach out to him, and it turns out that the company actually wanted to take on one more intern. So I was able to submit my resume using the skills that I have from Pencil. I edited it the day before, sent it in, and then I interviewed for it, and I was able to successfully get the position.
Looking at this, I just see that the JavaScript class is probably wrong, which means the binding's probably bad.
Yeah, let me copy the output, make it a little easier to solve. All right, that should be it. Thanks a lot, Brian.
Of course, anytime, dude, happy to help.
So Pencil opened my eyes to a new career field that I wasn't previously thinking about. I was primarily focused on the business side of things, but after my internship at Allview, I've generally considered taking up a CS major to get a better understanding or become more qualified to get a career in the field of tech or even fintech, so combining different fields across finance and technology as well.
Pencil does an amazing job of preparing these students, whether it be in career preparedness, resumes, the way that they do their work, their professionalism, all of it stands out in every regard. I can't recommend Pencil students highly enough.
I am beyond impressed with Austin and his perseverance to pursue the career he's interested in during such a challenging time. I know he'll go far, and I'm positive he has a lifelong champion in his corner with Brian. There are thousands more students just like Austin who need Pencil's programs and mentors. Now is one of those moments for our viewers to step up and make a commitment to supporting these programs. Use the QR code to make a contribution to Pencil and make sure more students like Austin get access to summer internships. And if you are ready to take the next step to host interns and or sponsor a group of career explorers, go to pencil.org and sign up to become involved. Our next story will give us some insight into how Pencil's School Partnership Program helps students build skills to support their future careers. This year, Pencil launched a program at Thomas Edison High School in Queens that taught students everything from coding skills to teamwork and collaboration. To tell us more, please welcome the principal of Thomas Edison High School, Moses Ojeda.
For years, I've been hoping to get a Pencil program at Thomas Edison. Our school and students thrive on interactive programs to prepare them for the innovative careers in fields like design, medicine, technology, and renewable energy. As an alum of the school myself, I know what it means to bring new opportunities to the students of Jamaica, Queens. It can be life-changing, and it has been my mission to make sure our students are on the cutting edge of new careers and opportunities. But it's not always easy to find the partners to work with, and especially when things went virtual. There were even more challenges to launch new programs. When Pencil brought us the opportunity to work with Infosys, we were excited to connect students with mentors from one of the world's premier technology companies. I think this story about our work together will show you why programs like this are so vital to student success.
Thomas A. Edison is a career and technical education high school, which means that they have specific tracks that allow students to have more direct hands-on learning in career fields that they're interested in. One of those being computer science and information technology. And with the Infi App Challenge being centered around developing your own apps, we thought that it would be best to really recruit students who already showed an interest in aspects of that, such as coding, user experience design, website design.
We have a long history with Pencil. For the past 2 years, they have been coming to us with wonderful opportunities such as app challenges to provide to our students.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for our 2021 Infi App Challenge.
In order to get through the Infi App Challenge process, students first needed to come up with a problem that they witnessed around the world. So they worked with mentors and professionals from Infosys in order to develop this app. And different students chose different platforms. So we had students creating apps on Adobe XD, and some used other online programs. But at the end, they had to create a presentation where they explained the problem, the solution, create a prototype, and then present it in front of a panel of judges.
Our name for this app is Planet B, and we realized that climate change is a major issue a lot of people are unaware about.
The process allowed me to talk to different mentors and talk to different people that would guide me throughout and allow me to figure out how app creation is actually occurring, and it gave us the opportunity to show our skills and show how we can use this as future ideas and plans.
The profile benefits the user by saving the information that you have accumulated over time. It helps show you related topics of what you can look at as an individual.
After I got to know these kids, they're very smart in their own way, but they didn't have the glue to hold them together to help them reach the potential that they could. And I feel like me and my co-mentor, Amish, were the glue that helped them get to where they were with their app. We were the ones who pushed them hey, you guys could do this, but you guys could do this better by doing it this way.
This relationship with Pencil and Infosys and this whole project has allowed students to step outside of their comfort zones and to start dreaming of a future, that might be in computers or even working in an office like Infosys.
I would take advantage of Pencil's workshops because it allowed me to create great connections with other people and grow as a human being overall. And I feel like those are the most beneficial things in life.
This app is crucial to our world to educate others on the crisis that is destroying our planet.
Pencil facilitated our 1.5 hour sessions. Regardless of what was going on, everybody was able to schedule that time in. The pandemic, I think, actually made it easier for us to communicate in a way, because we were all in different parts of the country. So the convenience of just logging into a laptop and talking to everyone and getting our ideas down became easier. Screen sharing and tools like that really helped us get through this pandemic.
On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
So I am looking forward to working with Pencil again, doing another mentorship like this, because I really enjoyed having that 1.5 hours on Fridays to just step away from work, do something different, do something inspiring even.
The most rewarding part about participating in a project or a challenge like this is to be able to see the students' growth. Taking, for example, Jamie, who was part of the winning team, he was a very shy student at first. He had a lot of great ideas, but was just shy to speak his ideas out loud. So to see a student like that, from being shy to now being open to communication and sharing his ideas and participating in these interviews, is just so rewarding and so great for his future.
I've realized that through our cooperation, I was able to acknowledge how everyone's ideas can have a positive impact on each other.
I think the relationship is important with Pencil because for the students, it really engages them to follow in a path that will be helpful in the future for like college or like in the work environment itself. It like creates a comfortable space that they can follow like their passions and their dreams that they want to have.
Congratulations again, Earth's Companions. You deserve this. We are really, really excited to see where you all end up in just a few years.
Wow, I just love that story. The students accomplished so much as a team, and to do all of that virtually must have been pretty difficult, but totally worth the challenge. Thousands of students have participated in pencil programs just like this, but there are still hundreds of schools on a waiting list to bring these programs to their students. If you are as inspired as me, I hope you are visiting pencil.org and emailing Pencil to get your company involved. Some of the best people to hear from and learn about why you need to get involved with Pencil are the principals who work tirelessly every day to bring the best to New York City students. To introduce our last video featuring two of Pencil's partner principals, please welcome Pencil's Associate Director of Programs, Devon Folks.
Thanks, Adrian. Pencil works with over 100 schools across New York City. Each school has different needs and goals, but one thing is constant. They are all looking for opportunities that will help their students find success. They look to Pencil for those opportunities. We at Pencil work closely with principals, teachers, and corporate volunteers to shape partnerships and programs. Our program team facilitates hundreds of hours of programming every year to build meaningful relationships between volunteers and students. Frankly, our role is to make it easy for them to work together. This past year, the companies and schools Pencil works with have truly gone above and beyond to make a difference. They were flexible, innovative, creative, and most of all, dedicated to the students. To hear more about what running a school is like in this moment and why now more than ever schools need Pencil programs, I am pleased to introduce an eye-opening conversation between two New York City principals, Principal Uche Njoku of John Jay High School for Law in Brooklyn, and Principal Dr. Asia Johnson of Longwood Academy in the Bronx.
When we left in March of 2020, we thought that we were going to go back to the buildings. I can't think about throughout the pandemic where there was a time where we needed Pencil to show up to support us in any way where they didn't.
Pencil's been the one entity that's been 100% present from the beginning of the shutdown of schools till now. They've been there.
It was just great to always have Pencil always thinking about how can I uplift and sustain this school, this organization, this community. And Pencil was at the forefront of saying, we can figure this out, which, you know, Uche, I don't know if you had similar experiences. I'm sure you did with Pencil as well.
Most definitely. That question was asked of us as well. Like, what can we do for you right now? One of the hardest things as a principal, we find ourselves sometimes needing things and we don't know where to go. We know that thing exists out there, but the sphere of our access is so limited. And to have a organization where you have access to Fortune 500 executives, C-suite executives who are saying, how can we help? It's a dream come true.
Having a school, especially one that's in the Bronx, our kids are among some of the neediest kids in the city. One of the things that Pencil brings to the table for us, and which makes them dynamic in every way, is the fact that they are flexible.
That flexibility is very, very important. One thing I want to add, I believe that Pencil is doing incredible work as far as equity is concerned. It's very important that we recognize the fact that our children are in constant need of validation because we live in a world where they don't get validated too often.
It's important to have people who have been in the business industry for a very long time to come in and work with principals about how do we facilitate the systems thinking approach to what we do as school leaders.
We are, as principals, CEOs of our own small companies. In partnership with an organization like Pencil, bringing companies to us, we have a product that we're producing. We're producing, hopefully, strong citizens for our country. People who are going to go and be, hopefully, one day, leaders of industries and things of that nature.
One of the things that we can continue to do as partnering with Pencil is growing and developing our relationships so that it becomes a staple in our school. College and career readiness workshops that our kids have been receiving, these career day explorations that our kids have been interested in, the Ladders for Leaders program.
A partnership that we had at our school that was created because of Pencil ended up resulting in a program that we call RISE. And this program allowed us to be able to identify students who are having those social emotional issues, even economic issues in their households, and be able to figure out like how can we really address their needs and also push their engagement in school.
Planning for a school year where some families had lost their jobs and the kids had to become workers, or in some cases, or in many cases, where kids have lost their parents and now had to become the breadwinners. It's been challenging during this time because it is planning for the unknown.
Pencil is like the ultimate middleman. Like it's like the ultimate middleman. They have an answer for everything. And if they don't, they'll find a way to make it happen. And I think as a school leader, that's very important because the amount of pressure that we carry on our shoulders is tremendous.
They are really a staple in our school. I mean, at this point, we probably should just like put the Pencil logo on our school's letterhead, right? Because we're a Pencil school.
What would it have been like for me as a kid at that age to know that someone's willing to say, oh, I will open the door for you?
How cool would it be to give every kid in New York City that option and that opportunity to just like be able to explore something that they couldn't even imagine themselves ever doing?
To have an organization like Pencil that says we open doors between corporate America and schools of great need and really be about that work, to me is incredible. If that's all Pencil has ever done for me as a principal, as a school, that's enough. Because I know that those moments are rare.
If that conversation doesn't motivate you to support Pencil and get involved, I don't know what will. New York City schools and students need us, but the truth is we need them. Successful students today mean a vibrant and growing city tomorrow. We, and I mean all of us, need to find a way to bring Pencil programs to as many young people in New York as possible. Earlier this evening, Greg shared that if we hit our $1 million goal, that means over 2,000 students gain access to Pencil's programs. Impressive as that is, there is even more to the story of what that impact really means. Jessica, Greg, can you tell us what that impact looks like?
Well, for every student like Austin that gets to do one of our internships, that's a student that has the potential to make over $725,000 more over the course of their lifetime. So if 2,600 students get to do internships with us, that's over $2 billion in collective lifetime earning potential.
And Adrian, that potential is only some of the return on investment. Most Pencil students build relationships with at least 2 professional mentors like Brian or Mahaney, and Pencil team members like Maya, Devon, or Marielle. We know that having a mentor is one of the strongest indicators of future success. $1 million will make over 5,000 student volunteer mentor connections possible.
And finally, over 90% of Pencil students report mastering a skill that will help them in their future career. So whether that's coding like the students at Thomas Edison or business skills like the students at John Jay or Longwood, $1 million will make sure 2,500 more students are prepared for their future career.
Whoa, that level of impact is absolutely incredible. Pencil has really figured out how to make $1 million go so far. Greg, for anyone that still needs convincing, although I don't know how that's possible, what would you say to get them to get involved in Pencil?
Adrian, I've been an educator for over 25 years. And as we've already said tonight, school in the last year has been unimaginably challenging for students, their parents, teachers, principals, everybody to navigate. We all know those challenges weren't distributed equally. As schools reopen this fall, 9th graders have not been in a school building since 7th grade. Juniors in high school only had a semester their freshman year before they started. And now imagine on top of that being a student who has been homeless or lacked internet access or simply needed a quiet place to study when one wasn't available. Even as we turn a corner on the pandemic, I know the future continues to feel uncertain for many. But for the past 18 months, what I've known for sure and what everybody in our network has proven is that our staff, our board, our executive leadership council, along with every Pencil partner, will remain a constant for New York City students. New York's leaders and businesses can harness the true opportunity right now, whether in a Zoom room or a classroom this fall, or as a principal for a day like you were coming up this spring. You can invest in the future of New York City by supporting the potential of our students. Let Pencil make it easy for you and your companies to show young people of New York that you are here for them and for their futures. And most importantly, that their success is all of our success.
Well, on that note, I think that's a wrap. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight and for all of your contributions to making Pencil's 50,000 Futures campaign a success. Thank you to all of our event sponsors, to all the Pencil volunteers who put in thousands of hours to support Pencil programs, to the Pencil staff and the school partners who have just done heroic work this year, and most importantly, the Pencil students for believing in yourself, for putting in the work, and for being the successful stars you are. Good night, everyone. Besos.